I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
What's up, bro? I see you finally here for a show, man. Well, at least for now, cause something always happen to
Hey,
you.
bro. It don't be my fault, bro. It really don't be my fault. I'm
Yeah,
for real.
yeah, I know, bro, but it's always something. But today we got Randy Nunley on the show. He's a professional creator, comic creator, been doing it for like I think almost 20 years now. He's doing his first project right now. First time ever doing his own independent.
Hey,
What?
I got something going on, bro. I got to,
Bro, I
bro.
mean, at least you're doing something
I
productive.
know,
You
cause
ain't
no,
doing
I'll be on it,
some
but
bull or whatever. You
hey,
ain't doing some super
appreciate
bull.
it, bro. You got it. All right.
Yeah, bro. Go ahead. I hold it down always. Once we here chill on the green box.
Welcome back to the hood, and this is Chill in the Green Box with Specs, Thompson, and the View. And once again, my co-host is not around, but this time he had to go fight one of his villains, so I give him that because not too often is actually doing some superhero work. So I give him that. But thank you, Randy, for coming on anyway. Even though he's not here.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, for the people who don't know who you are or where are you, give me like a real brief introduction of who you are.
So my name's Randy Nunley, and uh, I'm just releasing my first independent comic on Kickstarter called COSMO NATALYA, and I'm the second generation artist in my family, and I've been doing work in commercial and graphic design for about 20 years, and I've been working in comics and gaming illustration for probably since about the mid 2000s or so.
Okay. Sounds dope. Sounds dope. We'll get into all of that on this show. So you know, just chill. This is chill on the green box. I'm not sure you're familiar with the green electrical boxes that's normally in front of the neighborhoods, are you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I broke my sister's arm on one.
Okay, so I guess you wasn't chilling on the green box. You was wilding out on the green box. But
No.
well, for people who don't know, typically, you just hang out, try not to do WWE stuff on the green boxes or whatnot. But you talk with your friends, you hang out, you break things down, and talk about concepts. Um, which goes to my first segment of the show is breaking it down, where I'm gonna break your brain down with some series of icebreaker questions, so that people can learn more about you before we get into all the details of your books and whatnot.
All
So
right,
you
let's do
ready?
it. Yeah.
All right. So what's your favorite holiday movie?
My favorite. I'm gonna go with Die Hard, and I'm gonna stick to my guns that isn't absolutely a holiday movie.
Yeah. Okay. Um, what's two of your favorite snacks?
Two of my favorite snacks. Let's see. I like Cool Ranch Doritos,
Okay.
and those what do you call them? They're it's like a Reese sticks.
Reese sticks?
It's like
Somebody.
a chocolate covered peanut butter wafer.
Okay. Oh, made by Reese's, right? It's like coming two in a
Right.
pack. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. What makes you like those versus Twix versus the peanut butter? I guess.
yeah. Maybe it's the nougat. I don't think I'm a real big fan of the nougat and the caramel.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the Reese sticks are like they're real light and crispy. I like that.
Okay. We'll go back to the Die Hard
Hmm?
element of it. Did you ever play that Die Hard arcade game?
I think I did, but it's been so long, so long. I can't remember it. Did that have the
Okay.
gun?
Did it
Did
have
you
a
play that with
gun?
the gun?
No, I think it's more fighting. It more have buttons.
Was
So
it?
yeah, you
Oh,
pick up
okay.
random objects. Like you pick up like the mop and you will swing the mop around your head and hit people. It was the one that I guess going to different segments where you fight at. You had like press the right button so you can jump over the item. If you don't, you get hit by it.
Oh yeah. Okay, side scroller. Yeah.
Uh, I don't know what it called because it's like that. Time Crisis, that arcade game.
Yeah, that one did
Uh,
have the guns on it.
yeah.
Yeah. I love
It's
that game.
Dynamite Cop. That was another one. It was all like the same kind of era. So they don't make them like that no more. I guess they do.
No.
It might like no, like, they don't make them like that no more. You
No,
got to time it. Yeah, you don't.
Time Crisis and Area 51 though. Those were my arcade games. And
Uh
Tekken.
oh, you're Tekken. Yeah. I had a homeboy. He wanted to buy the Terminator arcade game that has a gun as well.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
yeah, he was gonna find that he. I bet if they know how Walmart's re-releasing all these games, and they
Uh
re-release that with a gun, they're
huh.
taking all this money.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Gen Z wouldn't know what to do.
not at all. Well, I plug in my USB cord at,
Yeah, right.
My last question though, what simple thing that's common now that blows your mind?
A simple thing that blows my mind. When I was a little kid, we didn't have all this wireless stuff, and everything is Bluetooth compatible now. Why does your microwave need to be Bluetooth compatible?
Yeah,
You know,
everything.
that kind of stuff blows my mind. It's crazy.
Mhm. I think I think when I was growing up, we had the wireless, but I think it was more like radio waves or infrared waves or something. Like
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember when remotes had cords on them still. So,
hopefully you're talking about the gaming console remote.
yeah, well, yeah, even remote control still had them sometimes. But yeah, like the Nintendo controller,
Cause I mean,
and
I've been
PS1.
I've been around some old things, and the whole time I remember the cord for the remote having like the remote has a cord on it, isn't like in the hotels like the Red Roof Inn or something. But I don't think
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I ever seen a remote with a cord on TV. I think that's a new one for me.
Yeah, I think my grandmother had this old Zenith console TV that weighed about 900 pounds, and it looked like wood furniture, but
Yeah, we had
like
one
the
of them.
remote
Yeah.
on it, I'm pretty sure had a cable.
Wow. Now we had one of them in our living room, I guess. But when it blew, it smelled so bad. Because I guess because all the compression from the wood and whatever's inside.
They got those
Oh
the phosphor tubes inside. I think is what those things ran on,
yeah,
and
man.
they would bust.
Yeah, that was horrible. Like who's burning something? Like I got in trouble for playing playing with the socket. It smelled so bad. They thought I was messing with the socket. But that's the end of that segment. Quick and easy. People get a good feel who you are. Next segment is called the back issues. Being inside comics, you of course you know what back issues are. And for people who
Uh-huh.
don't know, if you want to know about a character like Nick Fury, you'll go into his back issues to find out more about him, to find out about his origin story. So in this segment, we're gonna find out about your origin story.
Okay.
All right. So where are you from and what do you call your hood?
So yeah, we live in Wichita, Kansas, and I've been here almost all of my life. I think we moved here when I was about 2 years old. So you might as well say that I'm from here. And yeah, I'm a South Sider here in Wichita, and we don't really have a name for the hood, but this is where my whole family has lived here for for just ever and ever.
I know about Wichita Falls, Texas. So how far is that from
Hmm.
Wichita?
Wichita Falls, Texas, is probably about 4 or 5 hours from here.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, you can't look up anything for Wichita without getting Wichita Falls, Texas instead on the search.
Yeah. Um, do you like music? Are you a music lover?
Yeah, yeah, I like music.
So what was the
Uh,
first thing in music that got you intrigued in it and said, "Oh, I like this artist or I like this genre"?
Um, one of the oldest things I can really remember that was like really music centric was when the movie Wayne's World came out,
Okay.
and it was the first time I heard the song Bohemian Rhapsody, and my sister and I thought it was new. We thought it was a new song, and yeah, I think all the older people laughed at us, and then we discovered that it was like 20 years prior, like there's this band had all this amazing music that we'd never heard before, and it kind of that kind of opened my eyes up to the the fact that music doesn't have to be generational.
Hmm. Yeah. I think I was kind of current. Growing up music, from mom, she liked music. Then I had like an older sister, so I really, didn't see like the big gaps music like that. But nowadays with TikTok and all that kind of stuff, like bringing songs back, you could, my stepdaughter, she's what, the 14. and she was singing songs that I thought she had no idea what it were because they're definitely older than her, but she was singing them, and I was like, man, that's crazy. And of
Hmm.
course, she learned it from TikTok and whatnot. I was like, man, it's funny how
Yeah.
songs, don't really die if they're a good song.
But yeah, my sons are kind of the same way, and they'll be playing stuff that's 30, 40 years old in the middle of their playlist sometimes, and I'm like how do you even know what that is?
Yeah, how do you find that?
Hmm.
Who are you hanging out with?
Yeah. Well, tell you like a funny story. My 18-year-old, he's 18 now, but when he was 14, he had this thing where he liked to play like music that he was trying to shock us with his music selection, and he came out of the living room and he put ICP on, and you know who ICP is,
Yeah.
and just like this look of just abject terror spreads across his face because I started singing along with it, and he never did that again.
One and only, huh?
Hmm.
All right. In comics, so you're in comics. So what comic related TV show or comic book got you into comics?
Uh, I've been into comics for a long time, and like we didn't really have like shows at the time that I got into it. My dad, he's an artist also, and we also had this an Uncle Brad, who he ran all of the local conventions here in
Oh,
town, and so my dad would take artwork up there and sell it at the art auctions at the conventions, and I would tag along, and you run around the dealer room and stuff as a little kid. That's how I got into comics.
cool, cool, cool. We talk about it more later on.
Okay.
But since you are, second generation artist, and you was around conventions that early in the age, when did you find out that you was a nerd?
Uh, Man, I thought all the cool kids liked comics. I didn't find out I was a nerd till like years later in high school when I was reading a comic book in high school, and my friends because I played basketball too, but all my friends that I played basketball with saw me reading these X-Men comics, and they're like, "What are you doing, you nerd?" And like I didn't know I was a nerd.
Yeah. So, I take it you grew up in the 80s or 90s?
90s.
All right. So, like, how was it? Cause I mean, I born in 91, but so kind of, so how was it like? If you look back old movies and old TV shows, sometimes it seemed like comic books are fun, it's cool, hip, and sometimes it looks like it's shunned upon. So, like, how was it really?
I mean, it really wasn't shunned upon all that much because, we didn't have like cell phones or internet, for most of our childhood. And so there wasn't much to do. You could go out and play sports, and if the weather was bad, if you were lucky, you had a Nintendo or a PlayStation, but if you didn't, you had to do something like read comics.
Okay.
And I feel like they were a lot more common than they are now. I mean, they were
Okay.
definitely a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's up. Well, that's in the next segment. If we go to the next one called the hotkeys. It's a double meaning term. In comics, it'd be like key issues would be. I mean, hotkeys would be like key issues where a new artist get on a project, a new writer, a character introduced, or nowadays when a story arc gets turned to a TV show or a movie, and you want to grab those because they're valuable and whatnot. And also in music, on DJ's turntables, they be buttons that DJ can press is signal a song to come on, like during a party or event and whatnot. Like somebody wants to have a special song played for their birthday, and when this happened, you want them queued up for you, and you hit it as soon as they get a signal, you play the song. So on this segment is for people to know that this part of the show is for these items that you want people to know you about. And it's
Okay.
from questions that you sent me and questions that I came up for you based on things we've said prior and during the interview. So uh with that being said, what made you become an artist besides your you said your dad was an artist. So what made you want to do it yourself?
Well, I think it was that partly due to the fact that there wasn't lots and lots to do here in Wichita, Kansas, and it's like it's super hot here in the summertime. It gets really cold in the wintertime, so you do spend a lot of time indoors. And also, I mean, it was something that I was just pretty good at, like right from the beginning, and it's really the only thing that I ever really wanted to do.
Okay. Now, was he a comic book artist, or he just did artwork?
He did like illustration, so he didn't do comic book work, but he did like these very realistic black and white drawings, and he was colorblind, so almost everything that he ever did was black and white.
Okay. So, how did he take it when you chose to do comics?
Oh, he's all about it. He's always
Okay.
been super supportive of that kind of stuff. He was never judgmental about it or anything like that.
Okay. Okay. And so you're 20 years in just being an artist, or 20 years in the industry?
I mean, not necessarily 20 years in the comics industry. I've been kind of in and out of it, for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, I'm a career artist in one capacity or another for at least 25 years.
Okay. And so I it got a list of titles you did was it Cosmo Natalia? Is that right?
Cosmo Natalia that's my current project that I just finished the first book.
Okay, and that's the one you
Hmm.
the Kickstarter's for, right?
Right, right.
Okay, wait, okay. So the let me see what you gave me. The Return of Jake Sunrise. Now,
Hmm.
that's the one you did recently. So
Yep.
okay, and was that an indie project? Was that who?
Yeah, that was an independent project. It's what I worked on right before this one, and that project belonged to a friend of mine, Dean Page, who is also he's the co-creator and writer for Cosmo Natalia, and Jake
Okay,
Sunrise is that's how I met him.
okay. You have Grim Fairy Tales. I'm familiar with that, and that's like
Hmm.
anthologies, right? I think.
Yeah, yeah. And when I worked on Grim Fairy Tales, that was about 2007, and
Hmm.
I think it's still around, but I don't know. I don't know if it's still Devil's Due that's publishing that or
I'm not.
not. But
I'm not sure. One of my previous podcasts, we read one of them, but I don't remember who the publisher was. But yeah, I'm aware of that one. Then you gave me Forgotten Realms as
mhm.
well. And that's another, I guess, smaller publisher as well.
I think both of those were Devil's Due
Okay,
Publishing, and
okay.
yeah, I worked on several issues from that Forgotten Realms Starless Nights series.
And what got you be like, well, for it in Facebook and Twitter and stuff. So what got you in the professional or the major, artwork versus, being independent? And what got you like on board?
People. I'd met a few people that suggested that I submit artwork to some different companies and try to get some paying work. So, a friend and me, we started going around to conventions. We went out to Gen Con, which is a gaming convention in Indianapolis, and we just basically took our artwork down there and showed a bunch of people. And I got a few paying jobs with a company called Mongoose, who has like OGL, like RPG live action role playing games, and we did a couple of book covers and a lot of interior illustrations with them. And like it was kind of through them that we met somebody that was working for Devil's Due, and that's how I kind of moved from gaming into comics at that point.
Now, how big a difference was the gaming versus the comics?
Uh, the gaming I think was a lot more fun, but
Hmm.
at the time the comics definitely paid better.
Okay. You think is it like if you did like a game now, you think it would be different pay wise?
Yeah, I've been out of gaming illustration for so long. I mean, I do feel like it would be different because the illustrations in gaming books they're so much better than they are now. Like they're definitely paying a lot more than $20 an illustration now to get what they're getting.
Okay. Okay. Uh, did that include concept work too?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I think a lot of the gaming companies have their own like their internal art staff that does most of the concept work, and then they farm out when they bring talent in, they're asking for like very specific things usually.
Okay. Um, so since you did it so long ago,
Hmm.
would it be harder for like, let's say I drew like a book full of stuff and like I think go show it to the editor or whoever. I think it's harder now to do it versus back then.
I don't think so. I think that those companies are, if anything, they're easier to approach now.
Okay.
Is that everybody has an internet vehicle that, you go to their website and you're going to find a link to send your portfolio and your art to, and they'll tell you like if they're accepting submissions and what kind of stuff you should submit if you do. Whereas like in the past, you had to go somewhere and meet these people. You had to track them down.
Okay. Okay. Going to do some of the topics, well, before we get to topics, I see you have pencils, inks, inker, and letters, right? So
hmm
what is your favorite do? You like the pencil or like the ink or what?
I've definitely Well, I mean, because so much work is digital now that you don't really need a penciler and an inker, so it's kind of like merged into like one job. But that is the part of it that I definitely like the best. And I mean, like I like coloring, but it's really time consuming, and I'd rather be drawing. So I hired a colorist for Cosmo Natalia, the current project.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. So go back to these topics.
Mhm.
Um, independent publishing versus work for hire. So you always been, work for hire. Now you're doing your first indie project. So
Mhm.
how you like how you like it, the pros and cons of each.
Uh, I really like the independent work like so much better. And I think when you do work for hire, it's possible to find stable work where you can work month after month after month and have like reliable income. But there's no guarantees at all with that. There's no kinds of job security. And one of the problem that I had doing work for hire was that in 2009 when the Great Recession hit, it was really hard on the comic book companies, and like they took these huge losses because Diamond Comics distributors like nearly collapsed. And like I had all this work and invoices and stuff turned in to companies that suddenly couldn't pay me anymore. So I kind of got left hanging with like thousands of dollars in invoices out there. And that was almost it for me on the whole work for hire thing. I kind of stepped out of that and moved over to doing commercial design where I could punch a time card. And but yeah, so like years later, I've got two boys, and my youngest had just turned like 18, and so I've got a lot more free time on my hands now at home. And so I kind of wanted to do comics again, but I didn't want to reach out and work on other people's stuff. Not when there's this huge independent creator community out there. And it's a really great, very supportive kind of like place that you can work, across the internet with just like tons of interesting people. And you have also got these platforms like Indiegogo and Kickstarter where you actually can make your own comic and put it somewhere and people like have a chance at seeing it. So I mean, that's something that's dramatically different than anything that I had available to me, 20 years ago.
So first, there's not a support system in the industry like it is for indies. Like he was like I guess working for one of the publishers you did previously. There's no support there.
Yeah, no, I mean, you really feel like you're on your own, and they have these just soul crushing volumes of work to be done for honestly not a lot of money. Comics doesn't pay very well, and then you do all this work, and then when you're done, like you got paid the one time, but you don't have anything to show for it. Where as an independent creator, you get your book and you get it crowdfunded and everything, and then after that, you've got a book title that you can continue to sell, and you can take it whatever direction you want to after that. You don't have to worry about a publishing company editor telling you what you will and won't do. So there's a lot more freedom, and the onus is all on you to you take all the risk, but you stand to gain all the benefits.
So like you talk about the benefits of all the things you have nowadays. So let's say 10 years ago, 15 years ago,
Mhm.
uh, have you even thought about doing any project?
I mean, I think that's what every like comic book nerd kid dreams about doing is their own comic book. But 10, 15 years ago, it was like where do you take it? Where are you going to sell that book? You know, you'd have put it the whole bill for the whole cost of printing and everything. You would have taken that all on yourself, and then you'd have the stack of books. And unless you live in New York City where you have like big major cons frequently, like you don't have anywhere to go sell them at.
Okay.
You know, but today, like you have things like Webtoon, and you can easily make your own website, and you know, like I said, the crowdfunding sites, and you have a lot of places that you can market your book and get it in front of people to see it that you just didn't have back then.
Makes sense. Hey, I've been selling majority of my books online. Then I went from selling out back in my trunk to doing little small little venues around town and whatnot. I do
Hmm.
my first con this month, so
Cool.
I'm gonna see how that goes for me. I've been reluctant last couple years, but I think I swallowed that and gonna go down and do it for the first time. But
We did. Me and a friend of mine, we did probably about 2 dozen cons where, the only thing that we had to sell was like art prints, and we would make prints of some of the stuff that we had done that we published in books, and it's just other things that we did for ourselves, and that's the only thing we had was just prints, and and they did pretty well, and that's a really fun experience going to have your own table at a con. You're gonna enjoy that.
okay, yeah, I've been I went to how many cons I went? I think 3 or 4 so far this year, just peeping out the scene, seeing what
Hmm.
I need to have, whatnot, and I feel like I'm more prepared, than the other people I see. Just like you said, you just only had prints. Like
Yeah.
I have the posters, I have the shirts, I have all the stuff already. So like, I got all the product I need versus I seen guys who just no cover on their table, just a regular white, fold out table and their books sit on there.
Uh huh.
And some of them they're selling books, some of them just sitting there looking crazy, like holding a carrot out. Hopefully you buy it, but it's
Yeah.
not. It doesn't look good, or it just stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely helps to have like some level of presentation at your table.
Yeah, yeah. And you brought up webtoons, and that's one of your
Hmm.
topics. Webtoons versus crowdfunding. And digital versus paper. Um, are you a webtoons or webcomic reader?
I tried really hard to be a webtoon reader.
Mhm.
I tried, but ultimately I'm not. I'm not a webtoon guy.
And what do you think now is? I mean, I talked to a Nigerian creator, and he explained
Hmm.
to me why they're reading digital stuff. But besides that reason, because they don't have access to the books because
Right.
it's cost so much to get it from overseas over there. Why is it so popular with I guess America and Korea and Japan, where it's easy for us to get the manga and the comics?
I think that there's an age demographic where this sort of visual format is most appealing, and that's with younger people, and younger people like my kids will barely touch books. Everything is ingested through a phone or a tablet or a laptop. So I think a paper book for them, uh, it's just not really part of their world anymore. And most of the people that I've talked to that prefer a paper book, they're almost all of them are like 35 and older. So I think it's just a very natural thing for them to want to consume media, through a screen.
Like yeah, I read comics growing up, and I stopped on a period of time, got back in them. Um, Once I started back reading them, I'm buying the physical books.
Hmm.
And once I realized how much these books are costing, I stopped reading them. I had one book. It was Spider Man, in the 800 issue or whatever, and I'm reading no matter what. And one of my Facebook friends posts how much it costs now. I was like, what?
Hmm.
But since I read my book, I got on the cover, some of the paint had a smear because my thumbprints. Reading the book. So I was like,
Right.
oh man, I devalue the book. So now I got like boxes of comic books now that I don't read. I just bought them,
Oh, yeah.
but I'm reading them through the digital format because I don't want to damage the book. Though, but I would think if because I mean I didn't think comics worth any money. I never thought because they're just books. That I had the manga books. People just throw away mangas all the time. There's no value in manga books. So I assume the same thing in comics, but I know it's super pricey. Um,
Yeah, some of them really can be.
as
And
a child, I had this toy. It was a Spider-Man toy. It came with the Ultimate Comics issue 1. Uh, I guess because nobody was reading it at the time, they were trying to push it on kids or whatever. So I got the toy with the book. Already know Peter Parker's story. Reading that story, I'm like, what is this? This is crap. I don't like the story. So now I think that book's like in the hundreds. How much that book is worth? I'm like, oh my god, I had 2 of them growing up,
uh-huh.
and I didn't care
Yeah.
nothing about it. Just funny stuff like that. The value of the comic books, and just people say comics are dead, but it's not. Like you said, Webtoon was basically free, and it's digital versus Kickstarter and Indiegogo. You do get a physical book most of the time, and
But you don't have to. Almost everybody's got a digital
yeah,
download PDF version that you could get and or.
yeah. I don't think I can get on Kickstarter right now. It might be down still, but I don't know. But you can see how much money they made that day from projects getting funded. So when I see that number, how are
hmm
comics dead? Because everybody's still making money
Yeah, I
or
read
some
somewhere
kind of
that
money.
Kickstarter is like the number 2 comics publisher in the world right now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how many books are being produced through Kickstarter.
Yeah. And going on TikTok, trying to everybody say go on TikTok, sell more books, whatever.
hmm
I got on there and just how to use the internet. I found other people talking about comics, and there's a lot of people on there talking about comics with followers. So like, I don't understand the whole thing about comics are dead when people are going viral for talking about this issue or
Yeah,
Superman this
I think
happened.
I think the comic book store might be in its last days, you
Hmm.
know. And I do think that the paper format is on its way out, but not this year, probably not next year.
I think the comic book store will survive longer. I think what's going to die is the video game store more than anything.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, those are I can't believe there's any still open. Why? You play everything streaming or download. Yeah, why
oh,
why even have a store?
um, just because I'm older, but like Father's Day, I got 4 games from GameStop. Because I haven't had time to play games, so I'll catch up. But I can buy. I think I was able to get like 4 games for like $40. And
Yeah,
still,
that's true. You get them bargain bin deals. Yeah.
yes, and but I do know the value of having digital games, so I had to just flip out CDs or my kids scratch it up.
hmm
But just walking in there, I see just nothing but T-shirts, toys, and all that stuff. At the same time, I go to any one of the comic book shops around here. They got the same toys and same T-shirts. So like, I feel like the games like GameStop and stuff like that is not gonna be around. When you go to comic book store for the
hmm
same thing, for the same people who are going to pay, D&D or uh
Yeah, well,
Warhammer or whatever, they buying the toys, the same type of toys
that's
anyway.
yeah, the comic book stores they've really kind of transformed a lot over the years too, where like there are comic book stores and they have comics, but most of the clientele, they're like in my experience, these are guys that are playing like they're playing Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. And yeah, you go in there and you start looking through the comics and you're in their way a little bit. So
Yeah,
I'm kind of like, is it really still a comic book store or is
like
this a gaming store that has comic books?
the comic book store I frequent the most. There was an old dirty comic book store, all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. I think. Well, I think his wife died. I guess that's his wife. I don't know, but his wife died and had some other issues. So I guess he decided to sell the store.
Mm-hmm.
He got a new store now. He just moved locations to the better side of town and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it has all the statues, the posters. What else weird that he didn't have before in there? Something else. it's just all different. It's same vibe, same guy, but the
Hmm.
whole scenery of the store changes, and that, you see people coming in and trying to do
Yeah.
little TikTok videos like, oh, this is what new today in there. Like,
Well,
dang.
see, we've got one near our house that my son goes to all the time, but he goes down there and he plays D&D.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much like RPG games, card games, and like the live action D&D kind of stuff going on there. There's so much of that going on there. They actually put like a small cafeteria in the store, because like people are always they're in there hanging out and playing games, and
Yeah,
they needed to be able to sell them something while they're there, so they started stocking food.
yeah, yeah. It's a little group for that same combo store I was talking about, and people
Hmm.
just to buy a tabletop game. Be like, oh, this Power Ranger tabletop game came out. Who wants to get the group in to play it? I was like, that's wow. Like, I mean, I never was a part of the D&D group growing up. Like, if that was a nerd
Yeah.
thing, that was the nerd thing to
Right.
play
Yeah.
play D&D. But getting older, I guess Stranger Things. I didn't really watch that, but that's
Hmm.
popular. And
Yeah. I like
being
that show.
being a writer, people told me I should do that so I can learn how to do my characters better, because you gotta write so much depth into this character. And you're gonna play what 2-3 days worth of the same guy.
Hmm.
It helps with quick character building. So I thought about doing it, but I don't know if I'm ready to step into that level of nerdom.
I think that kind of stuff. It's really about being with the right group of people. I don't think you could just step into any D&D group and have a good time. I think you got to be people you're comfortable with, and y'all know how to laugh at each other. I think
Okay.
that's essential to something like that.
Yeah, I did the Warcraft and the RuneScape and EverQuest, growing up. So I mean, I was doing that stuff, but I never got into
Yeah.
the D&D. Um, and you said you had changes in the comic creator team over time. Now, what do you mean by that?
Um, what I was meaning, when I put that down on the questionnaire, I was really talking about like the composition of the team
Hmm.
and how that's changed because you really used to have a like a writer slash editor that would kind of dictate everything, and but now like everybody that's involved like more of the team like an independent staff is like everybody's got some ownership in it really, and there's like other like the jobs have changed because of the transition from traditional media to digital. You don't we kind of alluded to it earlier. You don't really need an inker anymore because that's all done in one step on when you're drawing on a tablet.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess that's basically what I meant by that was it's just
So
like
you see, think it's like, so are you saying there's more hands in the pot now or less hands in the pot?
uh, I think there's more hands in the pot. Really, I mean, it really depends on you know if you're still doing work for hire, then no, it's really about the same because none of the talent really has a say in anything. You're just paying them to do their one job.
Mhm.
But yeah, as an independent creator, like you have a team, and you also because you rely on them to they help promote your book too, and so you do need to give them like a little more say in what happens.
Okay. Have you been hired to be on somebody's book that they have put on Kickstarter?
That was like the very first thing that I did with Dean was he paid me to do some work on his the Return of Jake Sunrise series.
Okay. So your project now is like your actually first time being on crowdfunding, right?
It is my very first project that I had ownership of. You know,
Okay. And what is it about?
so my book is about a Soviet era cosmonaut who was like born and she was born in the Ukraine, which was part of the Soviet Union back in the end. She launched on this clandestine mission to find the planet X, which had just been discovered at the time in the late '60s. And like on the way to Planet X, because they have old technology and it takes a long time to get there. By the time she actually arrives there, the Soviet Union has collapsed, and the other nations on Earth have discovered Planet X, and they've sent spaceships of their own, and they're newer, faster ships. So she arrives at Planet X at the same time as a modern day American spacecraft. That only took 9 months to get there. And so when they meet, you're going to have this very hostile relationship, with this like uber nationalistic Soviet character, who's going to meet this like an American counterpart, a much more liberal minded, modern, woman sort of American counterpart. And so, there's a lot of interesting dynamics that are going to happen there.
Okay. What made you come up with that concept?
This concept really came up almost on a whim. I was just kind of just doodling something just for myself at home, and I just was drawing this astronaut fighting off three dinosaurs. And as I was drawing, I was like, well, what if they're alien dinosaurs? And she's in a spacesuit, and like as I was drawing, this idea just started fermenting in my head. And I was still working with Dean on Jake Sunrise at the time, and we just started kind of chatting about it. And it very organically like evolved into a 3-issue script, and in like literally all of a sudden, it all happened like very quickly, and before we knew it, we were already drawing pages.
Okay. Being a artist, how was it for you to write the story, or do the issue, script at least?
Well, when I started trying to write it, breaking it down, and I got kind of a 3-issue basic breakdown, kind of series of events put down on paper really quickly. But then when it came time to put it into an actual narrative, it really did take me very long to figure out that like I really need some help, because I don't know what I'm doing. And but like I'd already been kind of chatting with Dean about it, and he was all about jumping into the middle of it, and he did just that, and he got into it and kind of transformed my pile of just garbage that I had, and turned it into a working, functioning script.
Is it easier for you to draw this project because you created it, or writing a story, versus other stuff you're done?
I think it's definitely easier for me to draw this. And when you're working on other people's stuff, you spend a lot of time, like, you're trying to read their mind all the time. And like sometimes you have access to people, and you can talk to them quite a lot, and you can kind of feel them out and figure out what they like, what they don't like. And other times you only talk to them once a week, and you get like one paragraph of text, and from that you have to glean all the information that you need, and it doesn't always work out.
With two of my artists I work with, one guy's great fast guy, other guy's super slow guy. But with both of them, they're into the story. If the one slow guy, he wasn't so invested in my story, I probably already fired him, got another guy. But he's so invested, he did extra research and all that stuff to make the story and characters better.
Mm-hmm.
Just like my new artist in my main project, he wanted to read my previous issues to make everything he does concurrent to the issues he's drawing. I thought that was, dope, because I did like little side stories, like 4 or 6 pages, and nobody really cared. They just drew whatever, Yeah. But he wanted to go back and match up stuff, which is also great, because in the issue I'm doing now, you had to be paying attention in the previous issues, because I reintroduced another character. So if you wasn't paying attention, you'll be like, what happened? But if you notice, and then I guess he picked up on that too. I was like, man, that's great. So yeah, the other artists, they draw something, and I'd be like, oh no, this is totally wrong. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
you didn't get it out, because they're not, I guess, communicating. Talking to me once a week, so they already know where my head's at. They're reading the script I gave them. So
Yeah.
definitely know where you come from with that.
Yeah, that communication is a really like critical thing, and I mean, artists are like, yeah, we're like small children. We really need a lot of feedback.
My first artist I ever worked with, he noticed that from my my posts on Facebook, that I like anime, and he started
Mm-hmm.
incorporating anime in my comic style. So now that's the style of the comic, but there's like a blend between anime and comics, because he just seen that, said, "Oh, I'm gonna make it more." I don't know the difference, because I watch anime, but he added things that normally is not in comic books
Mm-hmm.
into my book, so it gives it more of his own identity, and that was
Yeah,
great though.
that's
But
great. Yeah.
yeah. So now I guess my book has a look of its own. Well, I guess more people are doing it, but it's look its own. People can get it because really small venues I've been doing. And also the conventions I've been to, I see people are gravitating more towards the anime stuff. So like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
wild.
it is. Yeah, that's something that before I decided and committed to doing a Kickstarter, I thought, well, maybe I should do something on Webtoon. But when I got on Webtoon and I started scrolling through the titles on there, it's 99.99%, like anime. Is very heavy anime on there. There's almost nothing that looks like a traditional Western comic in there. So I started thinking, well, maybe that's not the place for me.
Would you switch your style to do the more manga like style, or
Uh, I mean, like I wouldn't mind like borrowing or like leaning into it, but just changing up, no, I don't really want to do that. I mean, it,
okay,
it feels disingenuous,
okay.
you know?
I had one artist tell me it feels too simple for them,
It
because it's not
there's a
as
reason
detailed. Yeah.
there's a reason that people like to draw that anime manga style, and that's because it like at its in its most basic form, it's just easier to draw. And that's true. And I mean, that doesn't mean that some of these people don't have like amazing talent and skill because you see people that just take it to like amazing heights. But, you know, but for the most part, the basic anime that you see, it's just easier to draw.
Makes sense. Um, Makes sense for definitely in the anime wise when doing the animations because they gotta keep drawing that same character
Hmm.
over and over again and have an
Right.
episode out in a week
Yeah.
because it's a
Well, it's like
weekly episode.
yeah, they all, it's the same head on every character. It's just like that's why they all have such wild hairstyles because
Mhm.
that's really the only way you could tell them apart.
It was a Dragon Ball Z
Hmm.
meme I
Yeah.
seen. They just
Yeah,
swapping
that was going
it.
around recently. Yeah. It's literally the same noggin. It's crazy different hair on all of them.
Yeah, that's funny there. But how has been the reception of your first project? The people who've seen a little bit of it, or you done told about it.
So like by and large, it's been received pretty well, and it's being received well in the crowd of people that I thought would probably like it the most, which was, like people that are my age or older, because it very much has its roots in a lot of like the old Golden Age comics that came before it, and it's inspired by like guys like Wally Wood and Arthur Adams, and old Weird Science comic magazine and things like that.
Oh, okay. If you had to base your story off of something, so you was like pitching your story, so oh, this is kind of like a story like this, that, and third. What would it
Hmm.
be?
I'd say, this is it's a sci-fi story that's kind of got its roots in parody comedies like Airplane or like Men in Tights or The Naked Gun, something like that.
Mhm.
But with much more serious undertones than those movies had.
Okay, okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Is this a one and done or just a single issue? What is this?
It's intended to be the first of three. It's supposed to be a
Okay.
three-part series, and I was gonna predicate the production of the next two on how well this first one did, but it's doing quite well. So I'm like happy to say that like number two and three almost certainly will get done.
Okay. I'm sorry. But so you think it's better that you were the artist versus the writer on this project? Because I guess you would have to hire out an artist. So you
Hmm.
think it would have been harder being on the flip side of being a writer and have to hire
Well,
artists and do a Kickstarter?
it definitely would have cost more. I can,
Hmm.
the artist he's really cheap, so that's helping me a lot.
Yeah. Um,
But
as an art.
most of the other creators I know, they are writers and they are paying for
Mhm.
for an artist and a flatter and a colorist, and I don't really envy them that position because it's like good art's expensive and it's an awful lot of work, and even at the relatively low page rates that comics pay at right now, it piles up so fast.
I think my artist, I think he's done like 5 or 6 books at one time. But
Mm-hmm.
and he's pretty like quality work. He's pretty quick, but at the same time, I seen another artist that probably tried to hire him out. We only do 1 book at a time, so um, maybe it's a certain skill that you get while being in the industry that you can push out so many pages, per day.
Yeah, but if you want to make a living at it, like you have to, you have to crank that work out.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm not really willing to do that. I'd rather spend a little more time on each page. And I work a full-time job, but I'm doing about a page every 3 days or so. So
Okay.
I'd never make a living, making pages at that pace. But
Yeah. Yeah. Unless you're doing pinup artwork, I've seen those get pretty pricey.
they can, yeah, yeah. If you could just do 10 covers a month, you might be able to do that.
Hmm. Well, that's the end of that segment. Going to the last segment of the show, which is diving the crates. Being in comics. Uh, you go to the comic books, get some old things. You seen your dad in the convention where you trying on issues or some of the key issues we talked about.
Hmm.
Also in music, you dig on the same crates trying to find that music you enjoy. Uh, the soundtrack from Wayne's World. You might want to find that in the crates. Keep put it on the
Hmm.
wall somewhere. Um, but this segment is me going back into this interview and picking out some things. So uh, somebody can take last little quote or whatever from this interview, and
Okay.
I'll go back into just you being your first project. What's the term? If your project get optioned out, which has happened a lot, in the comics, would you let it get optioned out? If you would you what would you like to be? Because you've been in the gaming field, so you want to like get optioned out as a role playing game, or you like an animated show or a live action movie.
We have a running joke between Dean and I is that like we're the owners of the property and we're not going to let it go until we sell the movie rights to Netflix, and that's not going to happen for this project. But I guess that's kind of the daydream. If you're going to option it out, you'd sell the movie rights.
Hmm.
And then a couple of years later, you get to go sit down somewhere and watch the movie that a bunch of people made about your story. I think that would just be the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
I mean,
With a writer's strike right now, people are mad. So
hmm.
I don't know. I don't make that much money, so I mean, if they gave me what $80,000 for for my part
Yeah,
of the movie, I'd be fine because
right.
but they complain about it, and I don't know. Just I mean, I come from the music industry, and
Hmm.
and just seeing like let's say on the record label they gave me $1 million to do an album, and I don't make no money off the album. I can make another album if I'm a good, artist,
Right,
So
right.
I feel like as a writer, you do the same thing. Like you
Well,
made $1 million movie, you can make another $1 million movie. Yeah, it shouldn't be just.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure this is an unpopular opinion on that writer's strike, but these guys that are writing these movies and television shows, I don't really feel like they've been doing such a great job to begin with. So, I mean, the quality of movies and television has really gone through the floor over the last decade. So,
Um,
you know what I mean?
yeah, speaking of that, I did well 2 things. Um, I had to find out what the writer's strike was really about, and one of the
Hmm.
things, they're scared of chat, what CPT or whatever it is,
Chat GBT? Yeah. I
because
mean, that's
they can write
that's
a script.
reasonable.
They can
Yeah.
write a script, so like
Have you ever played with ChatGPT?
I want to
It's
because I
it's
seen some.
terrifying.
It's some of the things like you can like let's take you can take Star Wars, right? You can take the script of Star Wars and put it in
Hmm.
there and say make it a a, a steampunk buddy cop movie, and they would change it up so it'd be a
Uh-huh.
steampunk buddy cop movie. I'm like, man,
Yeah,
that's
we
crazy.
we sat around at work in work in an art department, so there's like three or four other artists in there. We sat around at work. We had it write a script, and then we had it just like make minor changes to the script, like do it in this other writer's style, and now add a science fiction element to it. And it remembers what you talked about before and applies changes to it. And it's really amazing how it works, but it is very scary because it is a lot like talking to another person. It's not another person, but you could see how someday in the near future you're going to be talking to somebody over the phone and you're not really going to know if that's actually a person or not.
It's already happening. They got the AI that does the voices, and
right, and they've had the chat bots on the phone for years, right? But you can spot them right away, and they're stupid, right? They can't figure out basic stuff, but ChatGPT can. And I think there's a lot of jobs that are going to get lost before, like screenwriters.
Yeah, I don't know
for sure.
I don't know y'all have this restaurant where y'all at, but Checkers or Rallies, do y'all have that?
No. Checkers?
Yeah.
Like the grocery store?
No, it's a restaurant. It's a fast food restaurant.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't have that here.
Well, it's like a little. How big? It's probably about big as a. I don't know. I can't. I don't know. It's about big as a U-Haul truck, maybe. That's how big the restaurant is.
Okay.
So everybody's in there cooking fries, burgers, whatever. So you can't be sitting there. You drive through left or right side, depending, how you get your item. And
it's like an old Waffle House.
Kind of, sort of. But there's no drive-through person. You talk to an AI, and the AI takes your order and whatever, and then it gives them the receipt, and they make it inside the building.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes. So before you get there, it says, please speak clearly. And it says, yes, I would like a number one, no onions, da da. You say, you want fries to that? I say, yeah, I want fries. Yeah, it's all robot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, like somebody's, 15 hours an hour job, if that, is gone.
Yeah. And, if you think about, like, it can do that job, and then eventually it's going to start doing the newscast too.
Yeah.
And when it's doing it, when it's doing the newscast, then it's like, well, how does it know what it's saying is true?
Yeah, like in my job, we had a janitor get fired one day, and the next day they had a robot that cleans the floor and also makes sure the items on the shelf is in inventory.
Yeah, but that robot, there's things that janitor did every day that robot's not going to be able to do.
Well, apparently not, because the janitor got fired. But yeah, we thought that was pretty funny, because like got fired, and next thing the robot is cleaning the floor, because that janitor used to ride on the same type of machine, ride and control it. But now it has like a little brain on top of it that drives it by itself.
Oh yeah, like the floor waxing machine.
Yeah,
like the little tiny Zamboni that goes up and down the hall. Yeah,
yeah. But it's been great, man. You was a good guest or whatnot. If you want to tell people a little bit more about the Kickstarter, and when your Kickstarter is over, where can they find it, to purchase it, and other works, or how are you on?
Okay, so the Kickstarter is running until July 15. But when it ends, like, you'll still be able to buy the book, because Dean is the co-creator and the writer of the book, and he's got another campaign called the Return of Jake Sunrise Volume 2, which will be going live shortly afterward, and you'll be able to buy Cosmo Natalia as an add-on on his campaign if you miss it on mine.
Okay, cool. And if they want to follow you or hire you, what can they reach you at?
Probably just search me on Facebook as Randy Nunley, or Randy_Nunley at Instagram.com, and those are the easiest ways to find me.
Cool. And once again, man, thanks for being on, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right.
What's up, y'all? He's still fighting and whatnot, but hey, y'all make sure y'all go follow Randy Nunley, get his book Cosmo Natalia, and follow him. Support him on his journey as being an indie creator versus a pro one this time around. And you want to follow my co-host The View and get some of his books, check out Legacy The View and buy it at legacyview.com. You want to follow me at SPECKS706. You want to be on the show? Hit us up at ChillingGreenbox on social media, as well on gmail.com. I'm out.